Hello everyone, I'm John Lynn, the founder and chief editor at Healthcare IT Today. We're excited to bring you another in our series of interviews with top leaders in health IT. And we're here at the eClinicalWorks National Conference. And our guest today is Bryant Stetz. He's the Director of Applications at the Rothman Orthopaedic Institute. Welcome, Bryant.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and also the Rothman Orthopaedic Institute.
Sure. So I'm the Director of Applications here at Rothman Orthopaedics. I currently oversee all of our clinical applications, including our EMR, our practice management system, some other ancillary systems we have embedded in-house, and basically any application that we use inside of the practice. Rothman Orthopaedics is one of the world's largest privately owned orthopedic practices. Current state, we are in 4 states, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and Florida. We have roughly 42 offices, and we're continuing to grow and add additional offices to support the communities. So we've grown pretty substantially in the last couple of years, and we've been a client of eClinicalWorks since 2017.
Wow. So that's interesting to think of such a large orthopedic practice. What are some of the challenges that you face as you've grown?
Sure. So historically, we've always been a self-hosted infrastructure. We're hosting all of our applications and everything on a data center. So when you're hosting your own data center, the challenges you really run into is the scalability, having disaster recovery, being able to scale and grow across the country with a data center that's in a centrally located region, right? We started in Philadelphia in the Northeast, so our data center has been historically located in the Northeast by the Philadelphia region. And as we grow, being able to utilize that data center and be able to scale across the country has been really challenging.
Interesting. So what did you do to address that challenge?
So we partnered with eClinicalWorks, and specifically for our EMR, we talked about how can we get a national platform for our EMR that we can spread across the country quickly and have a partner that can support that. So with ECW, we talked about cloud hosting, meaning that they host all of the servers, they host the application, they have redundant data centers, they have disaster recovery, which allows for us to go anywhere in the country, partner with ECW, and they're utilizing their Azure infrastructure to host us across the country.
Interesting. So I know you have ambitions across the country. You've already started to expand, so that's interesting to think about. And I think there's a lot of organizations in your shoes that want to expand. Now, you talked about on stage during the keynote a hub and spoke model. Explain what that means.
Sure. So there's a couple of different ways you can utilize ECW. From our organization standpoint, we want to have centralized departments, specifically our central business office. Mm-hmm. So we want to be able to support these hub and spoke model, meaning multiple spokes that are geographically placed across the country, currently the Northeast and the Southeast, that host the EMR. And then the central hub is the RCM hub that takes all of the information from those spokes. So when you finish your billing and a claim is generated, those claims come from the spoke and go to the central business office hub. And then all of the business office post-claim work is done in that hub, and you can have a centralized staff working on all of that.
Interesting. So the hub is for the RCM, but that will allow you to roll out more offices with the spoke. Is that the idea?
Correct. So what we can do, we can take a spoke EMR site and open it wherever we go. So if we have one in the Southeast, if we want to open up in 4 states in the Southeast, we can utilize that Southeast spoke. If we go to the Midwest, we can then quickly and efficiently, with ECW support, open up another spoke or another instance of the EMR. And that spoke, once it's set up, will communicate back to that hub, and we can utilize that however we want to. So there's a bunch of different use cases. So let's say we partner with a group in Atlanta, right? And I'm just saying sure. Atlanta, there's nobody there. And we want to quickly and efficiently bring them up, but we don't want them to actually be on an instance we already have, because they might be a different private practice or a different type of setup that they want to configure. We can then open a spoke model there. So it's not geographically required. It's just kind of the model we have now, but we're very agile on what we can do with that and be able to get up instances quickly and easily and still be able to support them from a central model.
Well, and it sounds like the key benefit is not having to find a data center in Atlanta that then you have to roll out. Microsoft Azure, which is what eClinicalWorks uses, is everywhere. So is that the key? That if you wanted to come to Vegas, where I live, you could roll it out quickly because Azure is already in Vegas?
Absolutely. So because the cloud model is now hosted by Azure, they have cross-country coverage, right? So and not redundancy. And redundancy. Well, that's the big thing, right? So when you talk about IT and you talk about support and infrastructure, the second biggest piece is redundancy and disaster recovery, right? So we want to open in Las Vegas. We open in Las Vegas. We work with ECW. It hits whatever one of their data centers that's currently supporting Azure. The connectivity's there, the redundancy's there. Let's say one of them gets wiped out from a storm. The redundancy then switches over to another one. You may have slight latency. We haven't noticed any yet, but you're still up and functional as an organization, and you don't have to worry about any type of downtime.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Are there other ways that ECW is working with you to address the technology challenges of a growing practice beyond just the data center?
Sure. So there's a plethora of enhancements that ECW is rolling out. So there's Helo Pay, there's remote check-in, there's kiosks. So we are really working to leverage the technology to really make the solution scalable, but also support the patient engagement and the workflows that you get into the clinic, right? Ultimately, the goal for us is to make sure a patient can conveniently contact the practice. The remote or the check-in process is seamless, whether it's through a text message that they can do. If they don't have a phone they want to use or haven't provided a cell phone, when they get into the clinic, they can check in on a kiosk. And then the final step would be the front desk verifying that information. But most of the work has been done, and then you're not stuck in a normal office facility where you're sitting in front of a front desk for 15 or 20 minutes trying to check in. You're more like 2 or 3 minutes. You're able to get through the clinic quicker, which then drives faster time with the physicians, right? Less time in the office for the patients, and ultimately a better experience for everyone.
Yeah, well, we're seeing that trend as well, the move to the consumerization, if you will, and engaging the consumer, the patient, and that's, I think, the core of Helo, ECW's product. So thanks so much for sharing your insights and perspectives, and thanks everyone for listening and watching. If you want to find more great healthcare IT content like this, be sure to check it out at healthcareittoday.com or search for Healthcare IT Today on your favorite podcasting application. Thanks, Bryant.
Thanks for having me, John.